Hi friends, Andromeda of Earth here. We are chatting about March 2020, the first week. We've got March 1st through, well, it must be the 6th. Doing our weekly reading, part 1. Coming into this very feeling like a blank slate. It's a very interesting kind of feeling. I really have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Only just decided a second ago which deck I wanted to use. I want to work with Dust to Onyx today. Oh my gosh. Courtney designed probably the most gorgeous box. I love the holographic rainbow. Probably not captured very well in the video. I was really fortunate to be able to participate in the Kickstarter for Dust to Onyx. It felt really important that this work got out into the world. And you know, even though I am not a person of color, I highly connect to these images. It's just a gorgeous, well done deck. I love the writing and the art, Courtney. It's just so gorgeous. I really believe that we have such a blessing now that this is out into the world. It's not the easiest deck to shuffle this edition. It's not challenging, but man, it feels super, super good in the hands. It's very velvety. Two of Staffs popped out. I've got a person on stilts and wearing a mask. It's almost like they're performing. Getting out there, showing the world what you got, what you can be, what you can create. March is such a fun energy, being that we have the equinox, the changing of the zodiac year. Aries season will be coming. We are, of course, still working with Pisces energy, especially having Mercury retrograding through the sign of Pisces. Just take a peek and see where we're at with that. I love how the internet, man. Technology, right? It's such a blessing. I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't be able to see, you know, in just a couple seconds that Mercury is moving through Pisces, you know, confirming it. I can see it's at 2 degrees, 10 minutes, 25.11 seconds, Pisces. Every week we do a simple spread of know, show, and grow. That also can work with the concepts of past, present, and future, as well as head, heart, and how to maintain or create balance between the two. since I've played with this deck. I also have a little bit of resin that I'm working with over here. Thought maybe might as well hit the deck with some of the plant medicine. Relighting my coal. This frankincense is from Oman, brought to us by Angus and Perry, Awaken to the One. Bring my day. Had to set up the fell again. That's okay. Set up the coal with the resin. There we go. We welcome any and only benevolent beings to this space. Any ancients, ascended masters, any angels who are of divine will and universal law are welcome here. We love you. We thank you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. We trust you. Our spot of knowing is the 8 of gourds. I'll put this over here. Immediately in focus. Beautiful. So this would be the 8 of Pentacles. The gourds here are water bearers, right? They're elevating this person. They are raising this person up, almost like smoke. So funny to me how the incense and the herb and resin are smoking below, right? Elevating us. Typically the 8 of, oh, no, cords, so that would be cups, right? Because it's bringing water. I'm going to have to look, it's been so, yeah. So, gourds, yeah, coins is pentacles, okay. Yeah, blades. And staffs? Yes. Okay. So the 8 of Cups, bringing our emotions into our head. But like I was saying before, the emotions here are elevating this person. You know, it almost, is it going from the gourd to the human, or are things moving from the human into the gourd? Either way, there's a huge abundance of this water. And keep in mind how much water we are. And what are we, you know, our hydration, right? So important. If there's anything you could do for yourself, making sure that you drink enough water. That will help bring the flow into the more preferred direction, instead of needing to be filled up by the gourds that are around you, the infinite space, the infinite beings, all those things, bringing you the energy, the water. Maybe you are the infinite source, the infinite well, and as your cup spills over, you are then able to share. I see the person here as a gourd, but then, there are these 8 gourds as well that you are also filling up. You have an infinite potential to fill and be filled. Their head is highly illuminated. There's gold and orange and all these things. They are just like tapping into that infinite source from above. They're just sitting there. There's nothing that they have to do. It's nothing that's effortful. In fact, if it is effortful, that means that your head is probably too full and it's not flowing. The energy, the water, the feels, because that's really what emotions are. They are the things that move us. And if there is any currency at all, it's an exchange of things that get us to move. That's what money is. Either way, whatever way it's going, it's filling us up. Remember, this is also in our past position as well. I'm so curious to see what we have next. So for our heart, our show, interesting. Got the 3 of blades, the 3 of swords. And I of course say interesting because this was the card that I received for the month of March. Now, this is not our March reading, but for Sincerely 78, I received the 3 of swords, and here it is in our heart space. Here, to me, it almost looks like the swords are holding up like a portrait. Oftentimes, people will see this as some sort of betrayal, and while I do see red-stained tears or blood, to me, it feels more like there are 3 thoughts, 3 things that are sort of holding up this idea up. And if we just analyzed and looked at these swords, we really got a good idea of what they are. We can just, then decide whether it's really worth it. You see how they're kind of poking? I don't know. Okay, they're kind of poking into this portrait, creating more of that blood. What are the beliefs that we hold so close to us that create this portrait that we hold within our heart? When I think of 3s, I often think of all the things for threes, you know, the whole Trinity, mind, body, spirit, maiden, mother, crone. There's lots of things, you know. You've got, you know, X, Y, you know, Z, you know, being an axis. I mean, there's so many things that 3 represent. What does 3 represent to you? You know, are we betraying our authentic self, our authentic picture? We're forcing it some way. You know, I just saw for a second like a pin. You know, is it worth it to have a pin to your heart if the pins are like sticking into you, like literally creating an injury? You know, did you stick those pins in yourself? Did somebody else stick them there and you didn't say anything? Or did you kind of just like rest your sword up against this portrait, just kind of hoping it holds it up there, you know, holds up this ideal that we can't even see all the way. Like, you can't even see all of his face. So it's like we don't even necessarily have all the information. I think of 3s in creativity. Oh, this is interesting too. 3 is also half of an 8. Like, what the? Yeah, but like, you know, like 2, like a 3, a 3, you have an 8. So like if you took an 8 and you like drew a line down the middle, you have like 2 halves of an infinite. Is a 3. So maybe you got to look at the other side of those 3 beliefs that you have, and you're going to have a whole picture of, you can see more of the portrait. I totally get that all things take some amount of sacrifice. Yeah, definitely. And we can't know the whole picture. It just is not possible. At least in our human state. And sometimes we just have to go with our gut. Go with what feels right with our creativity, what sparks us. I one time made a really, really bad decision that I knew I needed to make. And it was like no sort of reasoning within myself could possibly convince me to not make this decision. And I definitely know I was being driven by lust, in a sense. Knowing what I know now about what my decision and whatnot, there's no way my life could have gone any differently, and I'm so grateful. So it's okay to have those moments where you're being, you know, where you're cutting yourself open, holding up an ideal. Because that's part of the human experience. And the whole of it. It's good. Okay. And grow. Oh, lovely. A 10 of coins. Look at that power image. We got everything. We've got all of our peoples. I was going to use the word tribe, but I understand that it is become a problematic word And I get that. It's just the first word that came to mind is all the homies are here. And it's a very like cosmic here. They're not in physical form. You know, they all have these the glitter clouds beneath them, like they are just present and accounted for. They don't have to be all physically together because they're here. And coins being our more, you know, 3D earth physical suit of the tarot, they're holding money, right? But money is just it's a very broad concept. I mean, today I understand and that it isn't so quite broad, you know. It's either pixels on a screen or cash. They're holding on to it. They only have one. I love this. They only need one because they're connected to all the others, that they don't have to have all 10. You know, one person doesn't feel like they need to have all 10 because everybody's got one and they're all connected and they're all here. There's a rainbow going on in the background. I just noticed. Red being over on this side, all the way over to the blue on this side. Wow, everyone is here. All of humanity, Hue, H-U-E. I think we're getting closer to that time where we don't have to believe in our connection to each other. We're just gonna know. Yeah, everybody's got a role to play here. If any one of these were not here, the rainbow wouldn't exist. We wouldn't have all 10, the complete set. This is our future. This is how we maintain balance between our head and our heart. It's knowing and trusting. You know, even though we don't have all 10 of the coins, we have all 10 of the coins. Always. Let's see what the shadow is for this pull. The 7 of Gourds, so the 7 of Cups. Another repetition from Sincerely 78. It's what I received last month. The 7 of Cups. No, it's still within our collective shadow, the collective unconscious, having all these choices, possibilities, having all the resources of things that we could ever need to have all of the wealth, you know, from within us. We have access to all of the realms. Maybe it doesn't feel so much so right now. But this is literally just a reminder for you that we have everything we could need. We have all the versions of ourselves. We have all the energies. We've got the big cosmic version of ourselves, the higher self, over here. And we've got our various versions of ourselves that we get to play and be and do. Looking forward to making these journal prompts. I'm going to be having part 2 up on Patreon. Right now I'm going to create an altar, do some energy work with these cards. What a fun reading. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the first week of March. We'll get this up on Patreon as soon as possible. Thanks, guys.